welcome to another episode of Coaching While Black. I'm Alecia, and I'm here with...
Hey, my name is Andino.
We're going to talk about and really hop into the status of black coaches, especially when we're thinking about the NFL, but just in general. What is like the progression? What are some barriers? What are all the things when it comes to just being able to coach and being able to be one of the black coaches, especially at a higher level?
So the first thing, I have a lot of things that come to mind, especially when it comes to the NFL. And not so much to say, you know, those barriers are explicit, because I don't think they are, but just the situation around black coaches. But before we go and dive off the deep end of like high performance and professional stuff, what is your experience like as a female black coach trying to make it in the world of basketball? What have been some roadblocks or challenges you faced in your time?
Yeah. One of the things is that I'm definitely excited about just the status of seeing more coaches that look like me at those higher levels. It gives me a little bit of that encouragement factor for sure. But starting off is just thinking about, do I really even see like this pathway for me as a coach? Because growing up, I had no coaches. And for me, what drove me into coaching was just trying to do it differently than what I had been coached. And I wanted to do differently to be able to create those spaces for young people. And I think finding my spacing and then also feeling like when I'm in those spaces, I have to show and prove. I don't get that. I don't feel a lot of times that initial benefit of the doubt. And I say that because I was doing co-ed skill classes for this travel team that I was coaching. And it was my first time coaching boys as well, because normally I only coach girls. And my co-coach at the time was this really tall, like 6+ guy. And they already off the rip gave him that benefit. And they had to be like, Coach Lisa, let me see you shoot. Or Coach Lisa, can you make this? Coach Lisa, you can't steal this. So then I had to go out there and show that I can shoot or steal the ball from them and like really have that show and tell. And I think a lot of the time, I don't think that's a unique experience. I do think that a lot of female and black coaches, it's about that show and tell first. And I was just talking about like Chicago, I was so excited. We got Teresa Weatherspoon.
I was loving that for
as
y'all.
our coach. And I was because I loved her, because defense is my thing. And I was super excited. And the season, I thought we overperformed because of what we had. A lot of rookies, a lot of new ones. And for her to just be gone after that first year shocked me. And it was just like, for me, I'm thinking like, dang, it's just like, you have that short window to be the show that you can improve, or you get those positions where it's like it's up and coming, you just got to get it going, and then so it's just like a lose-lose, I think, but just those kind of situations where I feel like it's not a lot of that benefit of the doubt, and you have to overachieve right off the rip, and there's no like give and no like trial period. But what about you as a coach? Like, do you feel that kind of?
I mean, I can speak to that experience because first and foremost, being a coach, a male coach who coaches predominantly young ladies at this point, my assistant coach is a female, and when we walked into certain spaces, and we have 2 travel teams. I coached one team, and she was the head coach of the other. And we were going to spaces, and the people would just automatically walk up to me. And I'm like, that's the coach right there. Like, I'm the assistant in this role, in this space. So for folks to just kind of dismiss her in those moments was kind of a letdown for me. And I felt like I had to have conversations that I shouldn't have had to have on her behalf for her to get the credit and that sort of notoriety in certain spaces in the city of New York to be able to step out and people to give her her due and give her her flowers.
No, definitely had that a few times, for sure.
And I'm like, why don't you believe her? If she says she's the coach, why does she have to do this song and dance for you to believe her?
I'm standing right there at the front with a clipboard and go to my assistant or my AD that was on the bench, just walk past me, go straight to him.
Like hey, does she need to have her resume on her shirt?
Or tag.
like on her name tag for you to know,
head coach.
like head coach, played here, did all this, because like she was, and in regards to basketball, her career was way more prestigious than mine, but because I'm a 6-foot black guy standing here and I look like I know what I'm doing, you come talk to me when she's clearly at the table talking to the staff because she knows what she's doing and because she's clearly the coach and I'm on the bench talking to the players.
Yeah, so when you think about like just a good amount of initiatives that are out there trying to get more of like a diverse pool of coaches out there, female, male, black, what do you see that's working or can be improved to try to get more black coaches out there to take those higher positions and be comfortable like applying for those? Because I know for me, my hesitation a lot of times was I'm like, I still feel like I'm too young, or I won't get there, or I'm not this qualification. Like, it's that hesitation for me. And personally, I try to push myself out there to like be able to jump in that kind of thing. But what do you see as like a thing that can maybe help get more black coaches in those kind of positions or help them?
So first and foremost, I think we just, on a minimum level, we need folks to understand that black coaches can do those jobs, and not just to say just black coaches. We need black execs in front offices. We need all of those things, because as a coach who's walked into rooms to interview for things, going into spaces where 95% of the people don't look like me, I can tell that in certain of those moments there's going to be some bias in stepping into those situations, that you won't be able to speak to my lived experience in regards to an athlete or just as a black male in leading other men and young ladies that look like me.
Yeah.
So that in particular is something that we just need to have and give more opportunities to folks who look like us, so that way when we're in the rooms asking for these positions or putting our best foot forward, we have people who understand where we come from, who can speak to why we deserve those roles. And second, you alluded to it earlier, like, if I'm coming into a program that's struggling, because you need a new coach for a reason.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not saying the program is struggling, but someone vacated for a better opportunity, so you need someone to be able to do this job well. Give me time to fix it, or give me time to put my blueprint on it. And that happened to me several times as a coach coming up. But if you can even look to the NFL, like I think of Brian Flores, who did such an amazing job with the Miami Dolphins, but no one really talks about, his defense looking phenomenal, but he had really poor quarterback play, and that's the life for a lot of coaches, especially black coaches coming into the NFL. They're coming into struggling situations already, and now you're asking them to turn it around overnight, and it's just not the case. Whereas you look at, which is unfortunate to say, I'm a New York Giants fan, and you look at how much is going wrong in that front office, but everyone still has their jobs. Like Saquon Barkley might be, outside of this Luka and AD stuff, one of the worst trades in recent, or wildest let-goes in recent history, and no one's held accountable for that. But you have a guy like Brian Flores who did nothing but the best with what he had at the moment, and he wound up not coaching for a while, and now he's stuck in a position where he's an assistant head coach to a team that did very well this season and overachieved, but wasn't able to step into any of those great situations. And then you have a guy like I can't remember his name right now, but Adam Glenn, who coached in Detroit, and now he's going to the Jets, which is, in my opinion, a dumpster fire. But he's expected to turn it around and bring excellence from a program that clearly took their time to get everything right and to draft the right players to be great. But he's going to be, I look forward to hopefully seeing him get the same opportunity to be successful as Dan Campbell did in Detroit.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's the biggest thing, right, of like that opportunity, having a chance to be able to be in those spaces, and that intentionality, right? Like the NFL have like policies and procedures to try to get black coaches. Like, what are those things that you intentionally can have to not like favor anybody, but just get people that don't necessarily be in those rooms to get those opportunities, to be in those interviews, to know those people that can get them in certain spaces, like being able to be intentional about that recruitment piece and like that like diverse hiring piece. Like you have to go into different spaces, and I think that'll help just all professional and just collegiate as well. Where are you going to get coaches? How can we expand it and be intentional about that? And it's not favoring anybody, it's just being able to cast a wide pool of people that might not have had the opportunity. And I think that's the biggest thing with that piece.
And I think, again, every organization reserves the right to hire and retain and let go anybody in their front office, because at the end of the day, it's a job.
Yep.
And what people are looking for in these big changes and in these big shifts in leadership is for it to impact success on that level, and success means winning.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you can't expect the team to go from overnight to one of the best teams in the NFL. Like, have we seen that? Sure, but you can't make up for generational talent because at the end of the day, sometimes people are just taking flyers on whoever. Like Jaden Daniels, nobody knew he was going to make it to the NFC Championship and have that type of effect on that team. And Cliff Kingsbury got that opportunity to be able to come back and be redeemed and take a quarterback to those heights. But at the same time, we need to make sure that, we're being mindful of things like that. And again, holding coaches to realistic expectations, not what Jaden Daniels did, but how can we create a situation that's happening more often.
Yeah, and also for him, and this is like position stuff, but like him being able to see so many successful quarterbacks after, there was a documentary about just the evolution of black quarterbacks and how they were pushed out of that. And that just shows the power of that representation. And I think when it comes to coaching, that's the same thing. For me, Don Staley, all of those, like, to see them, like, be successful and also do it, like, in a good way also when they talk about Healing Center Sport, like, those kind of coaches do it the right way. And to be able to see that, and that's what keeps inspiring me to be like, yeah, this coaching stuff is cool, it has that impact, and I definitely want to keep it going. And being able to see that is also super helpful. So I do think that representation and all of that is definitely important in this sense. And again, just being able to get those opportunities and chances.
When you mentioned Don Staley, the first coach that comes to our mind that I think had that kind of impact on the way that I see my responsibility as a coach is Mike Tomlin in the NFL.
Oh, yeah.
And he's just, been successful his whole time, and success doesn't always mean winning the championship.
Yeah.
He's always been able to make the playoffs. He's never had a losing season, and his players always speak so highly of him. But in opportunities that I've had to watch him talk about his experience as a coach, he always leans in on his responsibility to making players better. Like, he doesn't put any, shortcomings on any individual. He always takes it on a way. Maybe my approach, what was missing in that I can improve so that the next experience makes us win that game that takes us to the next step,
No,
the next
I definitely
level.
enjoy Mike Tomlin now because he was on the Hard Knocks episode of AFC North, and like just him on the sideline encouraging. Like Russell Wilson been in the NFL how long, and how he still was encouraging, like just wipe it off 3. We got like that there. I enjoy it, and like those kind of coaches, and being able to see that, and like it's awesome. And for him to give like Russell that chance to come back and like give him that like redemption thing after the whole thing was, what was it, Denver, right?
Yeah, I mean, he took 2 quarterbacks that nobody wanted, and Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, and put them together, and they had a great season.
Yeah.
Like, did they go to the Super Bowl? Absolutely not. But that team was running on all cylinders, and they had a lot of upset wins, and they were able to maximize on both of those guys' talents.
Yeah, and I don't think if Mike Tomlin wasn't there that those two would probably have got that chance. So that the importance of having coaches like that, that's a player mindset, but then also maybe that relatability piece is probably the key to that kind of relationship and how that like fostered probably. But that's cool.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us for this special episode of Coach Wild Black, coming to you from Radio Row at the Super Bowl. My name is Andino.
And I'm Alecia. Check out some more episodes later on.
Peace.